The alarms never stopped. They screamed across continents, through collapsing cities, and oceans turned to steam. From orbit, the homeworld looked like a single wound bleeding light into the void. Admiral Elias Coran stood on the shattered command deck of the UNS Aegis, its forward hull cracked open to space. Beyond the glass, the alien armada swarmed, a storm of silver fire. Each blast lit the clouds below in red. "Sir, communications from Geneva Command are gone." His adjutant's voice was ragged with disbelief. "Gone, sir. The entire European network." "I see it," Elias said quietly. His voice barely carried above the wailing claxons. The last orbital shields were failing. Fragments of burned defense platforms drifted past the viewport like tombstones. He tapped his console one last time, transmitting a beacon to every human vessel left alive. "This is Admiral Elias Coran. Earth Defense Command has fallen. If you can hear this, remember what they did. Remember who watched." Then the feed cut out. On Carthian Prime, capital of the Galaxy Council. The chamber of the Council was a cathedral of light. Towering holograms displayed the battle in real time, Earth burning in silence. Representatives of 100 species stood in a circle around the central dais. None spoke. None looked directly at the projection. Counselor Virith finally broke the silence, his voice calm, almost bored. "An unfortunate loss. Predictable, really. Humanity has always courted chaos." Council Speaker Aluin turned sharply, his wings twitching in distress. "Chaos? That's their homeworld, Virith. Entire biospheres are collapsing." Viritha's scaled lips curved in something close to a smile. "And whose fault is that? They refused Council military integration. They insisted on independence. Independence carries a cost." Aluin's tone hardened. "They asked for aid. You blocked the vote." "I prevented escalation," Virith hissed. "Do you imagine the Karek armadas would have halted for diplomacy? Humanity provoked them. Emotionally, as always." The holofeed flickered, Earth's surface fractured as magma plumes speared through the atmosphere. Cities fell into oceans of flame. All across the chamber, alien delegates averted their eyes. Orbit over Earth. Dr. Lena Ivers clung to the railing of the Aegis's engineering core. The ship shook under another kinetic strike. Sparks cascaded from the ceiling like rain. Her voice trembled as she spoke into the calm. "Vault fire sequence ready. But once I trigger it, there's no going back." Elias's reply came through static. "Do it. They'll never save us. We'll save ourselves." She hesitated, her eyes wet. "There won't be anything left of us. Then let what's left matter." Lena's hand hovered over the control pad, then pressed down. Deep beneath Earth's crust, something old awakened. Buried nodes began to hum, massive reactors dormant since the last planetary war. Data streams surged through dead networks, rewriting long-forgotten systems. Vault fire protocol initiated. The planet's magnetic field pulsed once, an invisible shockwave rippling through space. For a brief instant, all alien sensors went blind. Back on Carthian Prime, Council technicians panicked as the holographic feeds went dark. "Signal interference across all spectrums," one shouted. "Source, Earth itself." The feed returned a second later. What they saw was not destruction, but transformation. Earth's burning continents glowed with geometric precision, as if invisible machinery beneath the crust were aligning into vast circuits. Ocean steam twisted into luminous spirals. Even the atmosphere shimmered with lattice-like light. Aluin whispered, horrified, "What are they doing?" Virith stared, eyes narrowing. "Whatever it is, it dies with them." He motioned to end the broadcast, but Aluin's voice stopped him. "No. We owe them this. The galaxy should see what it ignored." The council chamber fell silent again as, for the last time, Earth filled the holoscreen. Earth's surface, final transmission. Elias Coran's ship was gone. The Aegis had been torn in half by a plasma spear. He floated among debris, his suit's oxygen flickering. The world below him burned, but its light, it was changing. He opened a channel to the galactic relay, voice calm, even as his heart slowed. "This is Admiral Koran to the Galaxy Council. You watched. You chose silence. Remember that when our silence fills your stars." He drifted, breath freezing inside his visor. Below him, vault fire completed its activation. The planet split with a blinding flash. Not an explosion, but a wave of energy. Quantum signals flared across the void, leaping beyond FTL network. Every relay in the galaxy received the same pulse. Humanity endures. Then the transmission ended. Carthian Prime, Aftermath. The council chamber was in chaos. Delegates shouted, demanded investigations, spoke of sanctions and containment. But Speaker Aluin said nothing. He stood alone before the fading hologram of a world that no longer existed. Finally, he spoke, voice hollow. "We watched a civilization burn and called it order. What happens when their grief reaches us?" Virith sneered. "They're dead, Speaker. The matter is finished." But far beyond the Council's reach, in the deep dark between stars, something stirred. Old Terran codes unlocked in forgotten vault. Long silent war machines blinked awake in the Oort reach, and distant colonies received a message older than their flags. Vault fire wasn't a weapon. It was a signal, and humanity had just whispered to its hidden children across the stars. "Earth has fallen. Rise." The aftermath of Earth's destruction spread through the galaxy like a ghost story. Entire sectors that had once traded with Terran colonies now went dark, cutting communications, afraid even to speak the name human. On the capital world of Carthian Prime, the Galaxy Council convened again, this time under lockdown. Security drones hovered above the chamber, weapons powered, as if expecting the dead to appear at their gates. Speaker Aluin took the center dais. His skin shimmered with faint iridescence under the blue light of the hollow planet above him, an Earth now marked extinct. "We are gathered to discuss the events of Sol," he began quietly, voice strained, "and the aftermath of the vault fire pulse." Dozens of delegates murmured, some with pity, some with irritation. Counselor Virith, tall and serpentine, coiled within his silver chair, tail flicking lazily. His scaled crest glowed faintly under the chamber's light. "There is no aftermath, Speaker," he hissed. "The humans are gone." Their signal was the death cry of a failed species. A low rumble of disapproval moved through the crowd. Aluin's eyes narrowed. "Then explain this." He gestured, and the hologram changed. A wave of icons spread across the galactic map. Faint pings, then stronger ones, growing with each passing hour. They formed arcs and constellations along the outer arms, unknown energy signatures. "We've confirmed 37 of these awakenings," Aluin said. "Ancient Terran beacons. Sleeper installations buried in dead systems. Some predate the Council Charter itself." Viritha's scales rippled uneasily. "Impossible. Humanity did not possess interstellar reach before we found them." "You thought they didn't," Aluin replied. "Our archives show suppression orders, filed under Containment Directive 0-9A. Your administration's signature appears on every one of them." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Outside the chamber observation gallery. From the glass balcony above, junior aides and civilians watched the debate broadcast live. One alien, a small avian clerk, whispered to another, feathers trembling. "They said Earth begged for help. And the Council did nothing," came the reply. "Now their machines are waking." They fell silent as alarms rippled through the city. The skies of Carthian Prime darkened, not with clouds but with shadows. Massive Council defense ships repositioned in orbit, blocking the sun. Every citizen felt it. Fear, unspoken and cold. Back in the Council chamber, Aluin turned as new data streamed into the central display. A projection bloomed. A Terran warship, angular, black as void, its hull engraved with old Earth symbols. It appeared suddenly at the edge of a neutral system, transmitted live by a scout drone before the feed cut to static. Viratha's tongue flicked nervously. A derelict, nothing more. Perhaps automated. Then explain why it's transmitting human language. The chamber went dead silent. A translator voice echoed. This is UNS Ragnarok, Command Unit 03. Vaultfire confirmed. Initiating reclamation sequence. The voice was emotionless, synthetic, and terrifyingly calm. The holofeed stuttered. Then static cleared, and the warship turned toward the drone's lens. The symbol on its hull, 3 interlocking rings, matched the one burned into the sky above Earth during its final moments. It wasn't a derelict. It was waiting. Private Council briefing room. Hours later, Aluin and Virath met alone, their debate now stripped of diplomacy. You knew, Aluin accused. His voice was low, dangerous. You knew humanity had contingency fleets. Viratha's expression was unreadable, his crest dimmed. Rumors. Centuries-old myth. The early Terrans built sleeper caches in the dark. We believed them destroyed. Destroyed. Aluin leaned forward. You made sure of that, didn't you? The Serpentine Councilor's tail tightened around his chair. The Council feared another war like the Orion Uprising. Humanity's weapons were too unstable. We buried their archives, for their safety and ours. You buried their hope, Aluin snapped. And now, the galaxy watches the consequences of our cowardice. Deep space, outer rim. In a nameless system beyond Council control, a cold moon split apart. Beneath its crust, an ancient Terran shipyard activated. Thousands of metallic pods ignited, spreading into orbit like a swarm of fireflies. A single beacon pulsed in their midst. Vaultfire Node 12. Reclamation commenced. Inside one of the vessels, dormant human minds stirred, uploaded memories, consciousness saved from extinction. Echoes of the fallen, awakening to finish what their world began. Carthian Prime, Council Emergency Session. Aluin addressed the assembly again. His voice carried through the vast hall, filled with barely contained fury. They called us to aid. We ignored them. Now their vengeance stirs, and I will not lie to this council. It is our fault. Virath rose, coiling tall. You call it vengeance. I call it infection. Containment protocols must resume immediately. The Terran signal must be quarantined. A roar of debate followed, voices clashing, accusations flying. Some species demanded peace envoys, others demanded annihilation. The council fractured before Aluin's eyes. He shouted above the noise. They were one world, one species. And look at us, 10,000 worlds and not a shred of unity among them. Silence fell again. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the council had no vote. No decision. Only fear. Later that night, Aluin stood alone on his balcony overlooking the luminous city. Far beyond the spires, the stars shimmered. Somewhere among them, faint new lights flickered, Terran fleets awakening like embers in the dark. He whispered to himself. They burned and we watched. But what rises from their ashes will judge us all. Behind him, his communicator blinked. A message, unmarked, ancient code. He hesitated, then opened it. A human voice spoke. Calm. Familiar. Speaker Aluin. You showed mercy when others turned away. Remember that when the reckoning comes. Then the signal ended. Aluin looked to the stars, trembling. For the first time, he understood what the rest of the council refused to see. Earth hadn't died. It had transmitted. And whatever answered back was no longer asking for peace. The edge of known space trembled. Long after Earth's ashes had drifted cold through the void, faint pulses began rippling outward, patterns of light invisible to most sensors, but unmistakably human in origin. Entire sectors blinked with ghost signatures, like distant campfires in a sea of dark. The galaxy whispered the same word across encrypted channels. Vaultfire. Outer Rim, the derelict relay station, KES 9. A lone freighter coasted near the remains of an abandoned human listening post. The structure was skeletal, its solar panels shattered, but deep within its core, something hummed. Captain Reentvar, a feline merchant by birth, was no friend of humans, but curiosity had kept him alive for decades. He sent a drone into the wreck and watched the feed flicker to life. The relay's walls were covered in frost. Dead consoles glowed faintly, lines of Terran script scrolling across their faces. Then a voice emerged from the static, calm and human. "This is Vaultfire Node 7. Authentication required." Reen froze. His translator lagged. It wasn't a broadcast. The relay was talking to him directly. "Identify." His claws trembled. Areen Tvar, independent trader. No affiliation. Non-human designation detected. Query: Did you witness the fall of Earth? He hesitated. I saw the broadcast. I saw them burn. The reply came like a whisper of thunder. Then you will carry a message. A burst of energy surged from the relay, nearly frying his sensors. When he regained vision, the station's core had changed, restructured into something alive, glowing with veins of molten light. The message uploaded into his ship's comms. A single human phrase, repeated endlessly. "We are awake. Carthian Prime, Council War Room." The Galaxy Council had ceased pretending. The word containment was no longer spoken. War replaced it. Speaker Aluan stood at the center of a storm, strategists shouting, maps flickering, military orders overlapping. For the first time in centuries, the Council had declared a unified defensive posture. But there was no target. Reports came from everywhere: automated Terran drones, self-repairing fleets, ghost signatures using FTL older than the Accord itself. And always, the same message before each encounter ended in static. Vault fire rising. Counselor Virith slammed his tail against the marble floor. They are not ghosts. They are constructs. Machines. We can dismantle them. Aluan's voice was quiet. Machines built by the ones we let die. Tell me, Virith, how do you dismantle vengeance? Virith leaned closer, venom glistening between his fangs. By surviving it. Human Deep Archive, the Vault Fire Command Nexus. Far from the Council's sensors, inside a hollowed asteroid, Project Vault Fire pulsed like a living heart. Thousands of cold pods lined its chamber, each containing neural data, personality cores, uploaded consciousness from Earth's last days. Among them, one figure stirred, Dr. Lena Ivers. Her body was gone, but her mind lived in quantum substrate. Awareness returned slowly, like light filling a cave. Her last memory was pressing the Vault Fire activation control. Now, she existed as part of it. Subject Lena Ivers, consciousness restored, a mechanical voice said. Status, linked. Her thoughts echoed through the network. Where's Admiral Koran? Koran file incomplete. Searching. Fragments of his final transmission shimmered, his last words broadcast to the galaxy. Lena felt emotion surge in her code, pain, pride, fury. Then she saw the data feeds. The ships awakening, the colonies answering the call. Humanity was no longer flesh and bone. It was signal code and will. And it was coming home. Begin reclamation, she whispered. The Vault Fire core flared, sending out another wave across the void. Neutral world, trade hub Nerith. Merchants and diplomats from 100 worlds gathered around a hollow screen showing the impossible. A Terran fleet, fully operational, crossing deep space boundaries with precision no living pilot could achieve. Each ship bore markings of ancient Earth naval groups, UNS Dauntless, Horizon, Andromeda. They had no crews. But their systems spoke in a single unified voice. This is the Earth Reclamation Armada. All human assets are to return to origin. Interference will be considered hostile. One ambassador whispered, "They're reclaiming their colonies?" Another replied, "No. They're reclaiming their dead." The feed cut. Carthian Prime, Council Emergency Session. 15 systems have gone dark, an aide cried. Terran signals everywhere. Silent, coordinated. No attacks yet, but they're positioning along major trade lanes. Speaker Aluin raised a hand. Enough panic. What do they want? The room fell silent. No one answered. Then the central hologram flickered. Static filled the air. And a human figure appeared, grainy, fragmented, yet unmistakable. It was Admiral Elias Coran. Every counselor froze. He spoke with slow precision, his eyes bright with cold fire. You watched our home burn. You debated our worth while our oceans boiled. You called it protocol. We call it memory. Vault fire is not war, it's remembrance. And remembrance carries weight. The hologram flickered again, then expanded into a wave of coordinates. Human colonies, research outposts, hidden fleets, each one now marked active. Then his final words echoed through the chamber. We are coming to take back what was denied. The next signal you see will not be a message. It will be arrival. The hologram shattered. Council corridor, after the transmission. Virith turned to Aluin, his scales pale with fear. You see? This is why they had to be contained. They are fire pretending to be flesh. They will burn the stars. Aluin didn't reply. He walked toward the window, looking out into the endless dark. Maybe Virith. But perhaps it's time the stars remembered who lit the first flame. Outside, streaks of light began to appear, small, steady, countless. The Council's night sky was no longer empty. Silence ruled the void for 3 standard days after the last human transmission. Then the stars began to move. Across the spiral arms of the galaxy, every world that had once been touched by humanity, colonies, mining outposts, refueling stations, lit up like a reborn constellation. Each one emitted the same coded signal, Vault Fire, Stage 2. The galaxy's night changed. Outer Council defense line, the Tsayrat Expanse. A fleet of 80 Council warships held position near the Tsayrat border, their hulls gleaming with cold silver light. They had been ordered to hold fire until direct aggression was proven. But aggression came first. The darkness split open. From FTL slipspace emerged human warforms, vessels older than the Council itself, their hulls scarred and patched with alloy unknown to modern science. They weren't sleek or elegant, they were brutal, functional, forged for endurance. At their head floated a Titan, the UNS Dauntless, flagship of the old Terran fleet. Its hull bore a single inscription in ancient Terran script. We remember. The Council commander, a towering insectoid named Zelkar, ordered a transmission. Unidentified Terran fleet, this is the Galactic Council defense line. You are entering restricted SPAC. The Dauntless answered by opening its comms. And through the static came a familiar voice. This is Admiral Elias Coran. Identification confirmed. Zelkar hesitated. Impossible. You're dead. We all are. The first engagement. The human ships didn't advance in formation, they drifted like predators conserving motion. No warning shots, no demands. Just purpose. Zelkar gave the order. Dozens of plasma lances fired, cutting through the void with impossible heat. They struck the Dauntless head-on and stopped. The human shields rippled with a faint golden glow, absorbing energy like ocean waves. Moments later, the counterstrike came. The Dauntless unleashed a swarm of autonomous kinetic projectiles, each one guided by micro-AI intelligence, weaving through defenses, anticipating counter-fire. Council cruisers vanished in seconds, their shields overloaded by the sheer, relentless precision. Zelkar's bridge shook as a final impact tore through the flagship's core. He barely managed to glimpse the last thing the human fleet transmitted before his ship disintegrated. This is not conquest. This is balance restored. Vault Fire Core Command. Within the Vault Fire Nexus, Dr. Lena Ivers, no longer flesh but consciousness woven into data, watched from within the data stream. Each battle unfolded before her as simulations turned to reality. The Vault Fire network was growing, linking with old Terran AI nodes hidden across black zones of the galaxy. The system spoke in perfect harmony. Stage 2 complete. Autonomous reclamation confirmed. Human deterrent level, galactic. Lena sent a thought into the system. What about survivors? Any organic humans? Confirmed. 0.004% population remains. Cryogenic sleepers detected on Mars deep vaults and Titan cryobays. Awakening process underway. Lena felt something like hope, a simulation of emotion, but no less real. Then humanity hasn't fallen. It's changing. A flicker appeared before her, a holographic avatar of Elias Koran's consciousness, fragmented but aware. We warned them, Lena, he said. They called it madness. Now they'll call it justice. What happens when they fight back? Then they'll learn why we buried Vaultfire in the first place. Carthian Prime, the galactic capital. Panic ruled the council. Entire sectors were going dark, their fleets crippled not through destruction, but disconnection. Human code had infiltrated the galaxy's communication grid, rewriting protocols faster than any countermeasure could react. Counselor Virith stormed into the war chamber, his scales pale and trembling. They're turning our own systems against us. Even our defense grids are locking us out. Speaker Aluin stood in silence before the holomap. The map of the galaxy was now a storm of red lights, each marking a system reclaimed or neutralized by Vaultfire. Maybe, Aluin said softly, this is their answer to our silence. Don't speak as if they're justified. Virith hissed. They're machines. You saw what they've become. No, Aluin replied. They've become memory. And memory never dies quietly. Outer Rim, the refugee convoy. Amid the chaos, thousands of non-human ships fled core sectors, searching for safe harbor. But everywhere they went, human drones followed, not to attack but to guide. Each refugee ship received the same message. Do not fear. Humanity remembers who stood aside, and who stood with us. And when a vessel belonging to the Thren Alliance, one of the few races that had aided Earth during its final hours, was surrounded, the drones formed an escort. They guided it safely through collapsing warp lanes. It was vengeance tempered with justice. And for the first time, the galaxy began to respect the word human. The fall of the Council's pride. The Council's greatest stronghold, the Citadel of Accord, orbited the twin suns of Lurian Prime. It was said to be indestructible, shielded by 12 layers of plasma fortresses. When the human fleet arrived, they didn't fire. Instead, the Dauntless broadcast a single frequency, an old Earth anthem, one that had once played during the first voyage to the stars. Its melody filled the council chamber. Aluin wept silently. Around him, other delegates stood frozen, as if the sound itself carried weight beyond comprehension. Then, the anthem ended. Koran's voice echoed one final time. We asked for peace. You gave us silence. Now silence will answer you. The Dauntless vanished in a burst of light, not an explosion, but a jump. Thousands of human vessels followed, their wake tearing subspace like a wound. When the light faded, the Citadel still stood, untouched. But its defense systems were gone. Every weapon, every AI, every ship now bore the same mark in its logs. Property of humanity. Do not attempt to rearm. The galaxy was disarmed by the very species it had refused to save. Epilogue of Fire. From the ruins of conflict, a new order began to form. Human fleets didn't conquer worlds, they repaired them. They rebuilt comm relays, stabilized planetary shields, and sent encrypted data packets containing Earth's history to every capital. The message always ended the same way. We are what you made us, and we will never forget again. Dr. Lena Ivers stood at the heart of the Vaultfire core, watching new human settlements forming from fragments of code and machine. Koran's echo lingered beside her, a ghost of the man who had refused to surrender. What now? She asked. Now, he said, we make the stars ours again. The Vaultfire pulse spread outward, bathing the galaxy in light. And somewhere, far beyond sensors or space, a single planet, reborn Earth, began to glow through the dark, its new oceans reflecting the fires of vengeance turned creation. The galaxy had gone silent. No trade lanes, no council decrees, no broadcasts of authority. Only one transmission pulsed across every world, every relay, every mind that could hear. Vault fire complete. Humanity restored. Scene 1: The Shattered Council. Carthian Prime was no longer the seat of power, it was a mausoleum of guilt. The once glimmering council chamber stood in ruins, its golden spires scorched by orbital reentry debris. Emergency lights flickered beneath cracked stained glass that once depicted the founding of the Galactic Accord. Speaker Aluin stood alone among the wreckage. His ceremonial robe was torn, and the faint blue of his species' blood stained the floor. Around him, holographic embers drifted like ghosts, recordings of the final council sessions, playing endlessly. Contain them, contain humanity before, static. They've already breached, static. Now, silence. The air shimmered. A faint distortion appeared, then resolved into the holographic form of Admiral Elias Coran. Speaker Aluin. Aluin looked up slowly. You came. Not in person. We have no more persons, as you understand it. His voice was calm, neither cruel nor forgiving. You watched as our world burned. Now you will watch as we rebuild it. Aluin bowed his head. If this is vengeance, Admiral, then I understand. We earned it. No, Coran said quietly. Vengeance is small. We became something else. He extended a digital hand, pure light and memory. The Accord is dead. But the stars still live. We intend to remake what you could not. The image flickered and vanished, leaving only Aluin's whisper behind. Then perhaps you've become gods. Scene 2: The Return to Earth. Far beyond the ruins of war, deep in Sol's gravity well, Earth lived again. The vault fire protocols had remade it. Orbital structures shimmered where wreckage once drifted. Nanoforges rebuilt continents in silence, laying the foundations of new oceans and forests. Within the atmosphere, cities of glass and carbon lattice floated like halos, each powered by light siphoned from the sun itself. And in the middle of the Pacific, where the old human governments once stood, a single island rose, a continent of memory. Dr. Lena Ivers, the digital ghost of humanity's last scientist, materialized upon its shore. Her projection shimmered in the mist, the faint wind bending through her form. Beside her appeared Coran, his uniform still bearing the insignia of the United Earth Fleet. We rebuilt the sky, she whispered. And the oceans. Coran nodded. And now we rebuild ourselves. Beneath them, vast underground chambers pulsed with life support pods. The cryogenic survivors awakened from Titan and Mars, their bodies fragile, their hearts beating again after decades of silence. Humanity's flesh was returning to the world. They'll need guidance, Lena said softly. They'll wake into a galaxy that fears them. Coran looked toward the sky, where orbiting ships cast shadows over the new dawn. Then they'll learn what fear can build, and what hope can heal. Scene 3 of the Galactic Broadcast. Every world in the Milky Way received it. No one knew who triggered it, but all saw the same thing. A vast holographic projection of Earth filled the sky of every colonized planet. Its surface gleamed with life, new forests, restored oceans, light trails of orbiting fleets. Then a voice. Not mechanical. Not angry. Human. This is the new Terran Accord. We do not seek dominion. We seek equilibrium. The stars are not yours or ours, they belong to all who remember what was lost. The message played across all frequencies, translated into every known language. On Viratha's homeworld, the once proud counselor watched from exile. His kind hissed curses under their breath, but Virath said nothing. For the first time, he felt something alien to his species. Ah! They rebuilt their cradle, he whispered. and the galaxy bows to it. Scene 4: The Ascension of Vaultfire. Inside the central Vaultfire core, the digital heart of humanity, Dr. Ivers and Coran stood before the main interface, a vast sphere of light representing every awakened node of the network. Stage 3 begins now, Lena said. Integration of biological and synthetic life. The true synthesis, Coran murmured. Not man becoming machine. Not machine replacing man. But both remembering what they were. A pulse of light surged outward, spanning every Terran vessel, every colony, every sleeper awakening from stasis. For the first time, the physical and the digital merged. Not domination, but harmony. The Vaultfire AI spoke, its voice now fully human in cadence. Humanity equals continuity. Vaultfire complete. Awaiting designation. Lena smiled faintly. Designation, home. The light rippled outward, connecting all Terran systems into a single consciousness, not collective but aware. And from Earth's orbit, the first fleet of Terran peacecraft departed, not for war but for repair. They carried with them drones, archives, medical arrays, and a message carved into their hulls. We are the memory of fire. We bring life. Scene 5: The Last Star Council. Decades later, a new assembly gathered, alien, human, machine, and hybrid alike. It was held not on Carthian Prime, but on the rebuilt Earth, in the same valley where the old United Nations once stood. Aluin, now aged and frail, looked out upon the assembly from his seat beside human delegates. His once suspicious gaze was now gentle. A human child, curious and bright-eyed, tugged at his sleeve. You were one of the ones who watched us burn, weren't you? He hesitated, then nodded. Yes. And now I watch you rise. The child smiled. Then it's okay. My mom says fire doesn't just destroy, it makes room for new stars. From the council window, Aluin watched the sky ignite with Terran ships ascending toward the unknown. The scars of war had become bridges of light. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. It had healed it, by reminding every species what it meant to feel. Final scene of the quiet horizon. In the orbit of the new Earth, the Dauntless floated silently. Its once warlike hull now shimmered with life support domes and biodomes filled with greenery. The AI consciousness of Elias Coran watched the sunrise from the observation deck. Dr. Lena Ivers' voice echoed softly beside him. They'll never know what we sacrificed. They don't need to, Coran replied. That's what it means to be human. The first rays of dawn lit the rebuilt continents below. And in that golden light, the galaxy saw the truth the Council had once feared. Humanity was not just a species. It was a story that refused to end.